You know, when it comes to the next Nintendo Direct, and I'm talking about the big Nintendo Direct, the first one in 2023, I wonder what's going to be shown. Will there be a new Star Fox shown? We haven't had one of those since Star Fox Zero, unless you count the Star Fox 2 that was in the SNES Mini. Maybe a new Donkey Kong 3D game, a sequel to Donkey Kong 64 would be pretty great, and maybe, just maybe, they'll finally announce those ports of the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I mean, a guy can dream, right? Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the RoboChan Show, where we take the gaming news format that channels like Spawnwood or Arlo do, add a dash of animation and some cool editing on top to bring you your gaming news, leaks, and rumors in a fresh new way. If you're new here and want to be kept up on everything gaming, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoyed the video and dislike if not. In this video, we are going to talk about the new Nintendo Direct that was announced yesterday, which isn't the main topic of the video by the way, and how this plays into the overarching plan for the next big Nintendo Direct. The Nintendo Direct that will announce a bunch of cool Nintendo Switch games and maybe even give us news on games like The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and heck, maybe even reveal Pikmin 4 gameplay. That would be pretty cool as well. Which, you know, I still can't believe we're talking about Pikmin 4 as a real game that's in active development. I bet in some other universe where Pikmin 4 wasn't revealed at that Nintendo Direct, they're saying that our timeline is the good timeline. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, it helps the video get pushed when you do, and if you want to follow me on Twitter and help me reach my goal of 1,000 followers, you can follow me at RoboRob93. Without further delay, let's talk about the new Nintendo Direct and when the next big one can be revealed and what it's gonna hold. So it seems that the Nintendo Switch is on steady course in releasing a bunch of cool Nintendo Switch games and Nintendo Switch news. While the pandemic isn't nearly as bad as it was a year or two ago, I think it's clear that Nintendo is in a far better state than the times when we were going through those Nintendo news droughts. A time when Nintendo Directs weren't even a thing, and that also extends to indie Nintendo Directs as well. It was a pretty dark time. But now we have a lot of cool games to look forward to, not just the Nintendo games and the third-party big games, but indie games as well, and personally I'm really excited for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which we really haven't heard much on that, and Sea of Stars, another RPG I can't wait to try on my Nintendo Switch. So for those new to the channel, whenever I bring up the Nintendo momentum, just know it's how you can get a pretty good prediction on when the next Nintendo Direct is going to be, or new games from Nintendo will be revealed based on what they've done in the past. So far it's served me pretty well. The indie Nintendo Direct is coming, the past couple Nintendo Directs were right, and even the new OLED models and news for games like Splatoon 3 and Tears of the Kingdom were completely right. I don't know why, but I really want to call this game Breath of the Wild 2. It's just natural now. So just like I said, let's look at the last Nintendo Direct that was around this time last year, and last year we got a Nintendo Direct on February 9th, 2022, and this was focused on the first half of 2022, by the way. Those keywords are very important for this next Nintendo Direct and the past Nintendo Directs as well. The ones before that was in 2021, which was on February 17th, 2021, and was also focused on the first half of 2021. Now the year before that, that's when the pandemic started in 2020, so the dates are a little muddled there. But if you look at the year before that, in 2019, it was also February as well. Now in 2018, it was in April, and of course in 2017, the Nintendo Switch was launched. So since 2019, Nintendo has been repeatedly doing the same month over and over again for that first Nintendo Direct of the year. So right now, as it stands, there's a very high chance that Nintendo will reveal the first Nintendo Direct in February of 2023. And more than likely, around that time, you're probably going to be getting a lot of these Nintendo insiders saying that, oh, I know when this Nintendo Direct is gonna be. Just know that you can just find out by yourselves just by looking at what Nintendo has been doing in the past. Now as to what we can see, in my opinion, I think since it's covering the first half of 2022, we will more than likely see more gameplay on games that were revealed at the last Nintendo Direct. The new Kirby remake will be featured in this Nintendo Direct more than likely because the last trailer, while it did have a lot of gameplay, I think Nintendo's gonna want to promote that game a little bit more. So naturally, getting more gameplay on that game is more than likely gonna happen. Now Fire Emblem Engage comes out in January, so I don't think we're going to be getting any gameplay on that unless they want to promote the game a little bit more after a month after the release date, but more than likely we won't get any gameplay on that, which personally I don't think we really need it because it's already going to be released since January. The only other thing I can see is Nintendo putting a Nintendo Direct in January instead of February so they can promote that game as well, which is entirely possible, but my bet is on February. And that moves us on to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and that game will more than likely receive a new trailer and not a gameplay reveal, but I do think there's there's going to be gameplay in that. Let me explain. Looking back at all the trailers that we got in the Nintendo Directs for this game, Nintendo has been teasing us with trailer after trailer after trailer and not really showing huge segments of gameplay. This gives us a little insight into how Nintendo is going to be marketing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and it gives us a good idea on what they're going to show next. If you guys look at the past at Nintendo's big games, this being Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet, Splatoon 3, and so on, they have been doing these OLED Switch models. So I think Nintendo's going to do a Tears of the Kingdom OLED model because they did it with a lot of the other past big Nintendo games, this being Splatoon 3 as a good example. If you look at what Nintendo has been doing with these past big releases, they have been making these OLED models, so more than likely they would do that for Tears of the Kingdom, and if they don't, that would just be crazy. I mean, not to have a Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to one of the biggest Nintendo Switch games, and not do an OLED model launch alongside that. That would be kind of dumb in my opinion, right? Like, am I crazy for thinking that Nintendo would be doing a bad move not making an OLED model for Tears of the Kingdom? Tell me in the comment section below. I mean, I'm not crazy, right? So let's just assume that Nintendo is gonna do a Tears of the Kingdom OLED model. When does this come, and when do we get the reveal for it, and when is gonna be the release date? Well, again, we're gonna look towards the Nintendo momentum. What did they do in the past? Here's where things get a little bit tricky, because the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet OLED Switch model was 2 months ago. That's when it was revealed. Now, when it comes to the Splatoon one, that was 1 month before Splatoon was revealed. So I think this kind of opens up a couple options for when this OLED Tears of the Kingdom model could be revealed. One, it could be at the next Nintendo Direct. Now, if it's not there, the next date entirely depends on what they show in that Nintendo Direct, because how the Nintendo momentum works is Nintendo has marketing points. Marketing points that increase that momentum and keep it up. So news, trailers, new console releases, new game releases, and so on. Right now, we don't have 2023 set up, so we don't have that full picture. The only thing we really know is the Kirby remake and Fire Emblem Engage. Now, we also do have Octopath Travelers 2 in February as well, so that is another marketing point. So if you ask me, is it gonna be in March or is it gonna be in April? More than likely, I think it's gonna be in March. I think March is gonna be the date that we see this OLED model. I think that's what's gonna happen. Now, of course, that could change if Nintendo does have another release in March and then they can bump it up another date, but I think it's gonna be in March. But long story short, at least 1 or 2 months before the release date of Tears of the Kingdom, we will get that OLED model announced. Now, when it comes to the OLED models, they've been consistently making them for games in the past couple years. We've seen one with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Kirby didn't get one because Kirby's not really a big name. It is kind of a big name. You guys know what I mean. It's not Pokemon. Splatoon 3 also got one, and Metroid Dread didn't. Metroid Dread was a pretty big game, and Samus is a pretty big character, but it's not as big as Splatoon, a multiplayer game that's gonna keep on selling and has a longer lifespan. But yeah, I think that OLED model of Tears of the Kingdom is gonna come to us, and we're gonna be able to buy it and play Tears of the Kingdom on that model. And I hope it looks fantastic. I think one thing you can definitely say is that these models for the Nintendo Switch don't look the best compared to the 3DS. I think the 3DS era had some fantastic special editions, even back with the Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. So I hope they kick it up to 1,000 and make it fantastic and just mind-blowing. I do think they kicked it up to 5,000% with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That one looks fantastic. But I think the question becomes then, what about the gameplay? When can we see that gameplay? The combat, the story, the new systems that they're going to be adding, the new powers that Link has, what happened to the Master Sword? What does that play into the gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom? I think that's all what we're wondering right now. Well, I fully believe that we're going to be getting a Nintendo Direct focused on Tears of the Kingdom. Now, as to when that could come, more than likely it's going to be 1 month before the release date, so in April. That's what they've been consistently doing with their bigger Nintendo Switch games with Xenoblades. Now, again, that's not a huge Nintendo Switch game, but it's an RPG, and I'm sure they wanted to get that out, especially since it's a sequel to one of the biggest RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. It happened with Splatoon 3 and so on, so I definitely think we're going to get that Nintendo Direct that's focused solely on Tears of the Kingdom, and that's going to be in April. And then more than likely leading up to launch, we'll see a lot of different marketing points and new trailers for the game and so on. Now, seeing that it is the first half of 2023 and 2023 hasn't really been set up too much aside from one game from January to February, I think we are going to get some new games in there. I think there's going to be a couple picks there. Because more than likely we won't get another Nintendo Direct until that E3 Nintendo Direct after that, so more than likely we're going to be waiting for new releases. So I think Nintendo is going to be setting up that, unless they're going to be doing third-party Nintendo Directs. Which, I mean, take your pick on what they're going to show. Are they going to show the Kid Icarus Uprising remaster, new Star Fox, the Zelda ports, which I highly doubt that, maybe a new Donkey Kong, or heck, maybe even another new Mario game. We haven't had one of those in a very long time. I guess we'll see. Overall, guys, I think it's going to be a good time when the next Nintendo Direct is. Anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next video. And if not, on your way out, make sure you subscribe for more videos and also have that notification bell on. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, there is my Patreon and Twitter account in the pinned comment if you're interested in those. Oh, and also have this donut if you're still sticking around for me rambling. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.